Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video I'm going to give my reading wrap-up for the week of July 21 through July 27th. I completed one book this week, so I'm going to give a review of that book. I read parts of two other books, so I'm going to talk briefly about those two books. I'm also going to talk about a Wobble I'm working on and maybe some other stuff going on in my life. The book I completed this week is Yellowface by Kuang. I listened to the audiobook version of the book. This book is told in the first person by Juniper, nicknamed June, Song Hayward. June and Athena Liu met while they were college students at Yale, became friends. They both were aspiring writers. Athena became a very successful author. Her novels sold very well. June wrote one novel and it tanked. Early in the book, Athena dies. June takes a manuscript that Athena was working on. The story goes from there. June isn't a very nice person. She's very jealous of Athena's success. She believes herself a great victim. First and foremost, because she believes she's a victim of discrimination because she's a white woman. There is more to her character than that. There is more depth, although she does keep circling back to that view of herself as a victim of discrimination as a white woman. But I don't want to say more about those other things that occur because I don't want to give spoilers. And I think that although the other things about her that are revealed do explain partly why she does what she does, I don't believe that they excuse what she does. I don't think I mentioned either that June and Athena met while they were at Yale, and that June has a Yale degree, which the Yale degree buys you a lot, so it's kind of, well, mitigates against me believing she's a victim, but at least in the manner she thinks she is. The book talks about the publishing industry and reveals details of it that many of us wouldn't be aware of, at least I wouldn't be, or at least I wasn't. It also talks about peripheral entities related to the publishing industry, social media, critics, talks about other authors, etc. It doesn't paint any of these entities in a very good light. A lot of people and organizations come off bad in this book, and I can't really think of any major character or organization who comes off all that well. The audiobook narrator, Helen Laser, she does a fantastic job in this book. I think she just does a very great job portraying a unlikable but complex character. Another thing too is I think that June is kind of an example of a unreliable narrator. She says a lot of things about Athena, but Athena having passed on, she can't defend herself. And there is one other person in the book that says some negative things about Athena, but this person is also unreliable. I think this is a good book for anyone who would like to read a book with a unlikable, unreliable lead character told in the first person, and a book that takes a unflinching look at the publishing industry and the entities surrounding it. I think that R.F. Kuang does a great job. It's not easy to write a book with a unlikable lead character telling the story in the first person and make it a book that at least I found I didn't really want to put it down, and I wanted to pick it up again or listen to it again to know what's going to happen next. I would say that this book probably isn't for you if you don't want to read a book with a unlikable lead character. And it kind of goes without saying, but if you have problems with people that question the idea that white women are discriminated against in the manner of the book, the manner the book puts forth, this book probably wouldn't be for you. Chances are if that was a concern of yours, you probably wouldn't be reading a book written by a author of Asian descent. I do want to say too, just to make clear, that I'm not going to claim that white women are discriminated against. It's just that I think that most of the people that discriminate against them are men, and mainly white men. And that's not that what June mostly thinks the discrimination against her is. I want to say too that this is only the third audiobook I've completed, and the other two I read along with the physical books. This was the first one I just listened to. And although my audiobook journey is new, when I started it, I was concerned that I wouldn't get the same comprehension from an audiobook as I would a physical book. And although this is only one, I can certainly say with this book I feel I had every bit as good comprehension, and actually I might have enjoyed the book better because as I said, the narrator, Helen Laser, did a fantastic job with it. I just sat and listened to this book at normal speed. I know many people listen to audiobooks, do so when they're doing other activities like cleaning their house, driving their car, going for a walk. And they also listen to it at faster than normal speed, I don't know, 1.5 speed, 2 speed, something like that. And I didn't do those things, but my first solo audiobook, I'd have to say it was a great success. Next I want to read an author bio, which I got from R.F. Kuang's website, and I waited to read this till after the book because there's some interesting stuff that I see in this author bio, even though it's a short one. Rebecca F. Kuang is the award-winning #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Poppy Wars trilogy, Babel, An Arcane History, and Yellowface. She has a M.Phil. in Chinese Studies from Cambridge and an MSc in Contemporary Chinese Studies from Oxford. She is now pursuing a PhD in East Asian Languages and Literature at Yale. Just what I found interesting about that is just the level of education she has and the schools she has attended and is attending. When you talk about Cambridge and Oxford and Yale, you're talking about 3 of the top schools in the world. So that's quite impressive. And it is interesting that she set the current book, Yellowface, at Yale. So I just found that quite interesting. And I will say too that I am aware that there are people that have gone deeper than I do and have speculation about why she wrote this book. But I don't really know that much about her, and I didn't want to go beyond my impressions of the book and not look into further. I don't doubt that those other views may have a lot of validity, but it's just I try to go with what I got out of the book by reading it. And I will say too that I haven't read her other books, but I'm a little bit knowledgeable about them. And knowing what I do about them and having read this book does show me that she has an impressive range of writing abilities. And I'm definitely at some point going to read the other books and probably whatever else she comes out with. And there are 2 books I read part of this week. The first is one that I had started previous to this week, and I read some more this week. And it is the First Physical Culturist, Ancient Greek Athletics Training Competition by Dr. Alex Daulat. I'm enjoying this book greatly. It's quite interesting. I do think it maybe could have been edited, proofread a little better, but I think it's probably I know it's not a wide release because I couldn't even find it on Barnes & Noble, so it may be just a self-published book by the author. So I don't want to hold that against somebody who doesn't have the resources, but there are things I noticed when reading it. And the second book is one I just started this week. It is The Hidden Language of Cats, How They Have Us at Meow by Sarah Brown. I just started this book last night, and it does look interesting. I do like cats. I've never owned one myself. My family had a couple when I was a kid, and My sister moved in with us and she had a cat. Never owned one myself, so I don't know the responsibility, but I do enjoy having them around, which we don't have now. Probably never will again. But I look forward to reading more of this book. It's just one I happened to see at a Barnes & Noble my last visit, and I picked it up. Next, I just want to talk about the Wobble I'm working on. This one is Emilio the Turtle. And I haven't actually got very far in this. I haven't worked on this as much as I normally do in weeks, but I just have done part of the head part of it. And this is a beginner plus one, which is more challenging. Other than that, I got a haircut, color, continue to do my normal stuff. The only difference is I started watching the Olympics this past Wednesday. I really enjoy the Olympics, so I'm going to be watching a fair amount. That might mean I maybe don't read as much in the next couple of weeks. But the book I mentioned about the physical culturists is kind of interesting to read at the same time or close to the time I'm watching the Olympics. So how did your reading week go? If you'd like to tell me, please reply in the comments. I always like to hear what people are doing reading-wise. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos. I hope you have a wonderful reading week, and I hope you have a wonderful week in general.